Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our next guest, Dr. Nicole Sinisga, joining us here. She's the owner and lead doctor at Eternal Earth Sanctuary from Little Ferry, New Jersey. Welcome to the call, doctor. How are you? Welcome to the show, Dr. Nicole, I meant to say. Maybe it's the laryngitis. How are you, sweetheart?
I am doing great. How was your new year?
Oh, it was great. Just spent locally with my kids. I go to bed early, so nothing fancy. What about yours?
There's
Oh
my
my gosh,
cat.
I love cats. My cat just died a few months ago. Oh, my beautiful. Yeah, after
Oh,
14 years. Oh, you have cats. I love you already.
yeah, this is Twilight. She likes to be in all my videos.
Oh, beautiful. Hi, Twilight. How many do you have?
She is my one right now. She likes to be the queen of the house. So not many other animals. One of my roommates does have a service dog though. So we do try to bring in other animals if we can, but she likes to be the lonesome cat.
Beautiful. Well, doctor, please introduce yourself to our listeners today. Tell us a little bit about yourself to start. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I am Dr. Nicole Sinisga. I am the owner and lead facilitator here at Eternal Earth Sanctuary. It's pretty much an alternative and holistic wellness center, really. We focus on utilizing different aspects of Kundalini yoga, forms of divination, and different aspects of life coaching and spiritual counseling to really hold space for everybody to connect to their own divine nature.
Beautiful. And tell us how we can reach out to you directly.
Yeah, so we have a website, eternalearthsanctuary.org. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Awesome. Well, let's talk basically a little bit more about what it is exactly. It's a foundation, you say, of universal faith, conscious development, and human evolution. Let's talk about this mission of holding sacred space to inspire, please.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess, for me, my biggest part growing up, being the oldest sibling and not, in a generation of the 90s where your parents are always so busy working and you're kind of just on your own, I found a lot of peace in nature. And so trying to recreate that safe space that nature provides us, that's kind of what I do here at Eternal Earth Sanctuary. Be able to create this sacred space where people can really tune in to what their true values are, who they are, not only as a human, but as a soul, and connect to, the bigger picture of, we're a floating planet in our solar system, in the universe. And there's so much more to that than just, the struggle that we all face every day. And so it's beautiful. I have a beautiful amount of networking and community members who live on the property here with me. And our team is growing and it's blooming really beautifully.
Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up? What brought you into this field? I would love to hear about your personal journey.
Yeah, sure. So I was born outside of Chicago, but by the time I was a year, we had already moved. My biological father was in the military, and so we were around a little bit. By the time I was 11, I had already probably lived in about 10 states, but spent most of my high school year in New Jersey. I went to Northern Valley, Old Japan, and that was really nice to kind of have a little stability. But my wander of a child grew with me. And so I love to travel, and I spent a lot of time afterwards kind of going to different spiritual communities. So I spent time doing work exchange and finding ways to, oh, there goes my cat knocking the camera over. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
So being able to, recreate that essence of what I found on the road and at these communities was really important to me, because not all of these types of communities are available to all different types of people. So sometimes you have to, be on that yogic path to be a part of the community, or, be in this type of religion to be a part of this community. And so for me, all of these years, it was really important for me to be able to hold space for anybody of a spiritual nature to come together and find the connection that we all have. Really, at the end of the day, we're all experiencing the same thing, just telling a different story of what we were experiencing.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. It's exciting to have you here. And let's talk about some of the ways you can work with people. I mean, I know you talk about sessions, right? And you really customize them for each individual. Could you give us some examples of the benefits of these sessions and, what they are specifically? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So as a doctor of divinity and a doctor of ministry, it can sound very generic, like, oh my God, it's like you're sitting in a church session and you're having confession. But it's really so far from all of that, because I studied at a metaphysical institute. So we have a very practical way of kind of facilitating energy and moving through that. So in a private session, I like to first kind of do an intake, and it kind of goes along with where your chakra centers are aligned, where your thought patterns align with that chakra center, and kind of moving through what your goals are, your intentions. Some people come because they want to connect closer to their guides. Some people come because they just want to kind of I call it a soul car wash. You're kind of washing all the insides of yourself energetically. Some people just want to align, and some people just want to relax. So everybody's intention is so different. I work with people who are beginners on the path to advanced practitioners who just came off a 2-week retreat and need to, revitalize their energy. So my sessions can, incorporate crystal healing, aromatherapy, visualization and meditations, different kriyas from Kundalini yoga, along with just different energetic healing techniques. So it's kind of like a big soup of metaphysical properties that, I put together to be able to customize the best facilitated transformation for somebody.
Got it. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. And then also, I know you wanted to talk, well, you mentioned the micro module because again, new show, new day. Could you talk about that path to self-completeness? What is that specifically? Is that your book or?
Yeah. So I did
Ah,
just finish the micro module series. It is a mini ebook that kind of gives you 6 daily practices towards, self-completeness. And in the Institute of Metaphysical Science, where I did receive my degree, there is a specific module that you kind of, go off of life leadership. And that's like balance in your self-responsibility, respect for free will, and self-acceptance. And so the micro module brings those aspects to life while also utilizing a sadhana practice, which is what you'll find in the yoga community, which helps you every morning kind of center into your body, center into your mind. And I can incorporate those together because I'm all about the holistic approach. I believe that our body, our mind, and our spirit are beneficial to our holistic health. And so I bring in the concepts of the mind, of the self-acceptance and the self-responsibility, while also bringing in the physical aspect to have your, breath work in the morning, maybe do 15 minutes of a physical practice asana and incorporate it into that. So I try to combine all of those beautiful approaches so that way, these simple things, you can take 15 minutes out of your day in the morning or night and begin. And it's more simple than we make it out to be. I think we create more complication for ourselves as humans.
you think? I think we do that all too often for sure. My goodness. What else did you want to add to this? I mean, there's so much to you, your notes. I want to make sure we're covering everything that's important to you today.
Yeah, of course. So the micro module, when I was doing the first couple episodes back in the fall, it was just on pre-order. So now it is actually available on Amazon, on Kindle. And then I also, in the beautiful timing of the new year, was able to get out the 30-day gratitude journal on Amazon as well. So that is also available. And I was really excited about that because, gratitude for me has been such an immense part of my practice. Coming from a pretty hard childhood and, finding gratitude through suffering is a lot harder than, we think it might be, because we have to move past the trauma mindset and into a space of gratitude for the things we've went through. And so I want to be able to share that practice with other people in a way that isn't just, during Thanksgiving time when we all feel like we're
Yeah.
obligated to be thankful, but, all year. So it's a 30-day journey that people can begin at any point of their life and, continue on with that. It creates a new habit in the mind when we practice for longer than 7 days. And after 21 days, it kind of becomes, a new formation in your mind. And so when we practice gratitude, we really bring in all of the beautiful things in our life that we're looking for.
Got it. Could you give us an example of this gratitude practice? What can we be doing here at home on a daily basis?
I mean, even if we're waking up in the morning and when we're brushing our teeth, we're looking at ourselves and we're just saying, thank you. Thank you for waking up this morning. Thank you for allowing me to have another breath and to breathe this life. Even the simplest thing of that creates a whole energetic frequency for the next day. One time I was sitting in a ceremony with a indigenous tribe of almost a decade ago, and somebody asked and said, what is the most important prayer? Like, what is the prayer that we should say at night? And what is the most important thing? There's just so many things in my head. How do I know what to pray for? And the one elder said, he said, the only thing I ever say in my prayer is thank you, because it encompasses everything. Thank you for my food. Thank you for my family. Thank you for the clothes and the shelter that I have. Thank you for all the blessings that are entering into my life. And so for people to begin, honestly, it is just about extending gratitude every day. And to whatever that, maybe higher self, God, Krishna, whatever type of entity that might be, or feeling it might be for somebody, to experience that is powerful. And the
Got it.
practice grows with the individual.
Beautiful, beautiful. And also, you're talking about what's happening in the beginning of 2023. You also have studio classes now. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So we have some support groups, and we also have studio classes. So our support groups are free, and they run every Tuesday. We have grief support groups. We have kind of like a modern Bible study in a way, where we go over different types of books like Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And we also have an LGBTQ support group, which is led by one of our other faculty members. And then we have our studio classes. So on Thursdays at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., we have a crystal sound bath or Kundalini yoga, and those will alternate every other Thursday.
Very cool. And how can we find you again? Remind our listeners.
Yeah, of course. So on eternalearthsanctuary.org, you'll find all of our wonderful teammates on there and the services that they offer, our programs. And we're on Facebook, that also shows our programs. And we have a free community group there on Facebook as well.
Great. And I mean, it's so true. We are here in the new year. A lot of people, some people don't believe in New Year's resolutions or starting, hey, whatever it is, we're here now and we can have the best possible life. And you have this energy about you. It's just very
Well,
positive, very, I can feel it. I hope you feel mine. I feel like mine's the same way,
yeah.
even though I
Yes, I
sound
love it.
horrible. But it's gratitude. You got to be thankful. We made it to another year. We're here. We're alive. And let me ask you, how did you feel, and how are the people you were working with? There's so many of us that have been affected by COVID, that pandemic, the anxiety, the stress, the loss of job. Could you share your thoughts on that? And are you seeing a lot of your clients with this added stress and anxiety now, just from this world epidemic?
Of course, yeah. It's interesting. At first, it was for me. I had lost my job, I lost my apartment, and I packed up my car and I traveled the U.S. And I just stayed at different, nature retreats and different spaces on the U.S. that I could camp and just try to connect again. And then a couple years into that, it started getting a little more intense with the vaccine, and I had a lot of people reaching out to me for exemption letters, because as a doctor of ministry, I also have members of faith that do come, and they're, in this spiritual, psychological warfare within themselves of what to do, and the fear that, ran through a lot of people. So I saw a lot of that. And then last year, I actually lost my mom in September, and I had come back to take care of my grandma, and then lost my grandma this past April. So that year had then become super intense. And I had taken a break from my business for a little bit, because it was a whole estate I had to, go through. And it's kind of like real life just came down real quick and said, okay, responsibilities are changing. Your life is changing. Let's keep moving with it. So this year has been definitely, I guess last year now, because we're in 2023, very elevating in a way that was unexpected, but I'm very grateful for it. And now I just have a stronger team of ancestors standing behind me, walking with me along the journey here. And, hopefully we're coming to a new earth here, as a species together.
I like the thought of that. You're right. Oh, it's gives me goosebumps. So, what else did you want to share with us? Again, there's so much to your notes. I just want to make sure we're covering your area of focus for us today.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, this was great. I'm excited now that I have the two things, the micro module and the 30-day journey towards gratitude on Amazon. I after all this time, would love to share with my mom that I am officially an author on Amazon, and she would be so, so, so happy for me. So I know that she's cheering for me in the background.
Of course.
um, yeah, but just, getting the word out that our studio is being open now that it's 2023, and looking forward to connecting more with our local communities. We are right outside of New York City in Manhattan. We're literally a bus drive away. So I like to visit pretty often. Me and one of my roommates are actually going to visit an exhibit in New York City this evening. So we're really looking forward to checking that out. And just getting more involved in the community now that, I'm forming some stability here. I had been traveling for so long, and now it's nice to kind of step down into some ground and form some roots somewhere. So it's kind of all aligned in a beautiful way.
Got it. And I just got to mention, I'm sorry about your mom passing and then your grandma. I lost my mom almost 6 years ago now to lung cancer. I get it. And it's hard, but I still believe. And I know she's with us just like your mom. And that's a whole nother aspect of the work you do, right? Because
Yeah.
it's oh gosh, I believe every day there's signs, and she talks to me, and she absolutely would be so proud and
Yeah.
see your categories. And can I
Yeah.
just share, I was just reading before, there were some really good testimonials on your site about people talking in regards to the work you're doing, that you've done. And I think that also provides inspiration for those listening, even though my voice really sucks. I apologize, but just a few, if you don't mind. Thanks for being such a great host and a consultant. I feel refreshed, and I can't even put into words. This is from Alexandra in Florida. Excellent and very professional services from Kaylee in Wisconsin. I highly recommend this group. This is from John in New Jersey. It has helped me move out of some dark places. It is truly a place to reflect without judgment, and everyone here is truly there to help. Can you share some of the things that your clients, without using their names, some of the dark places that they're in, that they need help, that you guide them on? Give us some examples if you don't mind. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. It's very interesting because I receive people from all different walks of life. I have an amazing network of people in India, amazing network of people in the UK, and also amazing in-person network here in Jersey. It's interesting because, one of my clients had known me maybe 15 years ago, back when, you're a teenager, you're partying, you're coming out of college, you're doing all these things. And he had followed me for so long and saw the growth that I did in myself. And that's what actually made him come to me professionally and, find some peace in himself. And some people come because their emotions are all crazy and they don't know how to navigate some of that sometimes, and how to set boundaries emotionally. Sometimes people come, for example, because they're kind of going through a spiritual war in themselves, and, they're fighting forces in their minds. And for me, I understand visually that we
Sorry.
all no, it's okay. I also just got over an ear infection, so I understand the the voice stuff. But so I'll have some clients sometimes that kind of come because they're going through that spiritual war, as I mentioned, in their mind, and need a little bit of reminder of where they are physically to help navigate them instead of spiraling out, because we all have very imaginative minds. And so we all can create a lot of different realities in our own head. But if we have somebody that understands the difference between here and there, and kind of, she's loving my crystals right now. Sorry.
Ooh, I want to know more about the crystals in a sec. Go ahead, go ahead.
um, so just being able to kind of know the differences between, what somebody might be fighting inside and what somebody's, actually fighting in real life. So I think for me, the most sacred thing is being able to just be open and have this very unconditional space for people to, express what they're going through without feeling that they're judged, or feeling like they're, condemned for these ways of thinking. I mean, we're 2023. We've evolved in so many ways, and I think we're now evolving spiritually in more ways than we can imagine. And just as there are leaders of all different types, as we evolve, there are also spiritual leaders. And I think that's very important for me, because coming from, what I've come through in my background, being able to hold space for all of these different individuals has been, inspiring for myself.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And also, just one other, one of the most powerful crystal healers I've ever encountered from Tim. And you mentioned the crystals. Works out that way. Tell me about crystals and what we need to know and how that could benefit us as well.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, crystals are a frequency. Like, if we think about certain things like water, or, air and gas, crystals are the same as some of those frequencies. And so, for example, one of my favorite crystals is Lumarian quartz. And you'll be able to tell a Lumarian quartz that's different from, per se, a regular quartz, because I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on here. Maybe not, because I have a little blurry background, but they have striations on them, on the crystals, when they're Lumarian quartz, which means that, for example, these come back from the time of Lumeria, where specific knowledge will be decoded into the crystal with frequency. So all of these crystals, depending on the color and the the shape and size have different frequencies to them. So my favorite crystal is a selenite, and selenite is a master crystal. So if you have crystals, you can use selenite to cleanse those crystals because it is a master crystal, so it cleanses itself. So any kind of crystal or person or thing in your home that you want to cleanse and just, revamp its energy frequency, use selenite. It's like my go-to crystal.
Oh, and by the way, where do we get the crystals from?
So I do have some selenite here at the studio, but you can also get selenite at any of your local metaphysical stores or even on Amazon or Etsy.
Is there one that people really could be use of, like to help with everyone's, petrified of germs and getting sick for immunity? Is there any crystals that kind of can regenerate and help your body with, what's the word I'm looking for? Not immunity, not to get sick. What's the word? Help me out.
Yeah, so any type of crystals, depending on what body function you're looking to kind of
They're
heal.
specific. Okay.
Yep. So like if you have like a carnelian, that's going to work for your pelvic floor. If you have like an emerald, that's going to work for your heart and lung system. If you have like a lapis lazuli, that's going to work for your throat, maybe a little bit of the third eye too. So that'll go through your sinuses. So depending on the color is going to depend on where in the energy the organs will be associated. And it runs from the bottom of your pelvic floor to the crown, going in the rainbow order. So like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And those are all along the spine.
So say we want, open up our heart chakra, and you mentioned emerald, right?
Yep, emerald.
What's the process? What do you do with the crystal? Where do you keep it? What do you say? What do you do? How do you obtain that energy to come within?
Yeah, so there's so many different things that you can do. You can meditate with it on that particular center. You can just by holding it and carrying it throughout the day, it will also work with that because it's already in your energy field. So it'll attune to that specific center anyway, because that's what it's attuned to by the color and the crystal itself. Some crystals like jades or citrines actually come in different colors as well. So you can get like an orange and a yellow citrine and utilize the same crystal for different areas because they come in different colors. You can even just have like, it's pretty popular. A lot of people like buying large amethyst crystals and putting them in their homes because it helps attract abundance and, revitalizes and refreshes the third eye and your intuitive center. But there's a lot of different things that you can use with crystals. There's also, depending on how you cleanse them, if they're certain rough crystals, you have to be careful with how you take care of them because you can't get them wet. So you have to use sometimes like smudging smoke from like sage or Palo Santo or the moonlight to cleanse some of those crystals instead.
Awesome. Thank you. We still got 5 minutes left in the show. What else did you want to add, hon, before we go?
I just want to extend so much gratitude for you taking the time to interview with me today and to be a part of PBN. It was, being able to go see myself on a billboard was the most, amazing experience. And my mom always said that she was my biggest fan and she knew that I was going to go places in the family, and so, I just want to extend so much gratitude for PBN making that happen and for allowing a space of growth, for small businesses. And I'm just very grateful for the time that we live in that, all this technology is available that we can create, beauty together. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's remind everyone how we can reach you also on social media too.
Yep. So Dr. Sinisga, my last name, is my handle for Instagram or TikTok. And then EternalEarthSanctuary.org is where you can find all of our programs and services online. And then we are also on Facebook, Eternal Earth Sanctuary.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, for occupying space. And again, I apologize. I'm not a good host today, but you did fantastic. And looking forward to the next time we speak. Best of luck with all these new classes and sessions and everything. And we'll be in touch next week again, or?
This was the last of the 3 sessions that I had, but I do look forward to working with PBN more in the future. And it was such a pleasure to connect with you.
Thank you. I'm so glad we got to meet up. You have a fantastic day. And to all of our listeners, Happy New Year. Stay tuned. More. The show is on the way.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.